So, you're saving $35 a week. That's cute. It's what you might spend on a few fancy coffees or a single mediocre takeout dinner. It sounds small. It feels safe. Most people dismiss it, telling themselves they'll start saving real money later, after a big promotion or a lottery win. They wait for a perfect moment that never comes. Meanwhile, that tiny amount has a hidden power. It's not about the size, it's about what you do with it. This isn't a lecture about skipping lattes. I wouldn't do that to you. This is an almost lazy system to turn tiny, consistent effort into a life-changing sum. I call it the 3% raise hack. Simple rule. Every January, increase your weekly savings. Imagine two people, both starting their investment journey today, December 22nd, 2025. They're the same age, have the same job, and both decide to start with that manageable $35 per week. This is our starting line. Person A is the set it and forget it type. They automate their $35 weekly investment and feel proud of their consistency. They never change the amount. For 50 years, that $35 a week faithfully flows from their paycheck into their investment account. It's a good habit, far better than what most people do, which is nothing. This is path A, the fixed path. Person B starts in the exact same spot. They also automate a $35 weekly investment, but they add one simple rule to their system. Every January, on the first paycheck of the new year, they increase that weekly contribution by 3%. They are on path B, the 3% raise path. This tiny annual tweak is the only difference between them. In the first year, their accounts look identical. In the second year, Person B is investing $36.05 a week. It doesn't explode overnight. It's a slow, steady climb that mirrors the small pay raises and financial adjustments we make throughout our lives. In year 1, it's $35 per week. By year 10, that has crept up to about $45.54 per week. A decade has passed, and they're only investing an extra $10 a week. By year 20, it's about $61.29 per week. After 2 decades, the weekly amount still hasn't even doubled. This is the beauty of the system. The increases are so gradual, they never feel like a shock to your budget. Meanwhile, the total amount of money being put to work starts to create a noticeable gap. The fixed plan of Person A will contribute a total of $91,000 over 50 years. Person B, with their small annual increases, will contribute a much larger sum, over $200,000, over that same period. But the final difference in their wealth won't just be the extra money they put in. The real story, the shocking difference in their final net worth, comes from when that money gets invested and how long it has to grow. This is where the magic of compounding enters the picture. Why 3%? It's so small you barely notice it. It's painless. 3% on $35 is about $1. $1. You can find that. That small number keeps you from quitting. Aggressive goals overwhelm people, and they give up, reverting to spending everything. 3% is achievable. It's sustainable. Section 5. The power of compounding. Where the magic happens. Compounding is a term that gets thrown around a lot, often without a real gut-level understanding of what it means. People nod along, thinking it's just interest on your interest. That's technically true, but it's also the most boring definition possible. A better way to think about it is this: compounding is your money having babies, and then those babies grow up and have their own babies. It's an exponential explosion of growth that starts slowly and then accelerates dramatically. The 3% raise hack is designed to pour gasoline on this generational fire. In the early years of both Path A and Path B, most of the growth in your account comes from your own contributions. Your balance might be a few $1,000s, and an 8% return is only a few $100s. It can feel slow and unexciting. This is the stage where most people lose faith. They check their account and think, I've been saving for 3 years and this is all I have to show for it. They don't see the army that's being quietly assembled. They don't understand that the first decade is mostly about laying the foundation. Early on, the curves are close together, but over time they diverge dramatically, with Path B soaring far above. Then, something incredible begins to happen, usually around the second or third decade. There is a specific point in time on our chart that is incredibly motivating. It's what I call the surpass moment. This is the exact year when 1 year's investment growth becomes greater than your total lifetime contributions. It's the moment your army of money babies becomes more powerful than the entire civilian workforce. It's a profound shift proving your system works exponentially. It's the crossover from being a saver to being a true investor. For our fixed $35 a week investor on Path A, this moment arrives around year 35. At that point, they will have contributed about $63,700 over 3.5 decades. Their account balance will be approximately $358,000. An 8% return on that balance in year 35 would be about $28,640. That's a decent return, but it's not yet bigger than their total contributions. The true surpass moment, where 1 year's growth exceeds all contributions, happens a bit later, closer to year 38. That's a long time to wait, but it's a powerful milestone. Now, let's look at the 3% raiser on Path B. Because their account balance grows more quickly, they reach this critical milestone much faster. While their total contributions are higher, their investment growth is supercharged and overtakes that figure years earlier than on Path A. This typically happens around year 32. The growth in that single year is massive, easily eclipsing the total amount they've put in. Reaching this point years earlier is a huge psychological victory. Assume about an 8% average annual return, a standard long-term benchmark. This isn't a guarantee, but it's realistic for long-term planning. After 40 years, their account would grow to approximately $529,000. That is a fantastic result from such a small weekly habit. If they let it ride for a full 50 years, that balance swells to an incredible $1.2 million. Yes, you read that right. Just $35 a week, consistently invested, can make you a millionaire over a long career. Now, let's turn our attention to Path B, the 3% raiser. For the first few years, the difference is negligible, but slowly, silently, the gap begins to widen. By year 40, Person A, $529,000. By year 40, Person B, over $970,000. That's nearly double, all from that tiny 3% annual bump. The difference is a staggering $441,000. That's the price of a very nice house in many parts of the country. But the real knockout punch comes at the 50-year mark. Person A, $1.2 million. Person B, over $2.4 million. Let that sink in. The final gap between the two paths is more than $1.2 million. Person B ended up with more than double the wealth of Person A. The extra money they have, more than $1.2 million, is, by itself, more than Person A's entire nest egg. The numbers are compelling, but the real genius of the 3% raise hack lies in its psychology. Most personal finance advice fails not because the math is wrong, but because it ignores human behavior. We are creatures of habit, prone to procrastination, easily overwhelmed by big, audacious goals. Telling someone to go from saving nothing to saving 15% of their income is like telling a couch potato to run a marathon tomorrow. It's a recipe for failure. The person tries for a week, feels deprived, and quits. The 3% raise hack is the anti-marathon. It's a financial couch to 5K program. It starts with an incredibly small, achievable step, $35 a week. Anyone can find $35. That's $5 a day. You can do that. This initial success builds confidence. You've started. You're an investor. You've taken the single most important step. The habit is established. Then, the system leverages the power of inertia. Once your automatic transfer is set up, it's harder to stop it than to just let it run. You're using your natural laziness to your advantage. The annual 3% increase is a masterstroke of behavioral design. It's tied to a specific time, January. It's already a period of renewal and resolutions. It gives you a single, simple action item to perform once a year. Put it on your calendar. Give my investments a raise. This entire strategy is useless if it just stays as an idea in an essay. A rich life is lived, not just read about. So let's turn this from theory into action. The entire system can be set up in less than 1 hour and then run on autopilot for the rest of your life. The goal is to build an automated money machine that works silently in the background, making you wealthier every single week without you having to think about it. This is about being intentionally lazy so you can focus on things that actually matter to you. First, pick a destination for your money. This is your investment account. Don't just open a savings account at your local bank. That's a guaranteed way to lose to inflation. You need a brokerage account where you can invest. Think Vanguard, think Fidelity, think Charles Schwab. Open a Roth IRA if you qualify. Inside that account, you'll buy a simple, low-cost target date index fund, or a broad market index fund that tracks the S&P 500, or the total stock market fund. Second, set up the automation. Log into your brokerage account and link it to your primary checking account. Then, set up a recurring transfer or investment. Schedule it for $35 to be pulled every week, preferably the day after you get paid. This is crucial. Pay yourself first. Don't wait to see what's left over at the end of the month, because the answer will always be nothing. We've looked at the math. We've explored the psychology. We've laid out the exact step-by-step plan. We've seen how a cute $35 a week can grow into over $1 million on a fixed plan, and how a simple 3% annual raise can turn that into more than $2,400,000. The gap between these two outcomes is a fortune. The difference between starting this system and doing nothing is even greater. It's the difference between a life of financial anxiety and a life of freedom and choice. The numbers are undeniable. The system is simple. The only variable left is you. Stop waiting for the perfect time. Stop telling yourself you'll start when you make more money. That's a loser's game. Top performers start now with what they have. The 3% raise hack is beautiful because it lets you start small. It builds the habit of saving more as you inevitably earn more. It flips the script from "I'll save more when I earn more" to "I will automatically save more as I grow." It's a system that guarantees your savings habit keeps pace with your life. You don't need a big, heroic leap. You just need to take the first step. Your first move is the only one that truly matters. Make it now. Open the account. Set up the first automated transfer of $35. That's it. That is the moment you go from being a passive bystander in your own financial life to being the architect of your future wealth. Everything else, the compounding, the 3% raises, the multi-million-dollar outcome, is just the inevitable result of that single, decisive action you take today. The next 40 or 50 years are going to pass whether you invest or not. You might as well show up at the end of them with a few $1,000,000. So, here is your call to action. Don't just close this page. Don't just say, "That's a neat idea." Take 1 hour, right now, set up the account. Automate the transfer. Set your calendar reminder for January. Weaponize your $35 a week. In 20 years, you'll look back and thank yourself. In 40 years, you'll be living a life that people who are waiting for the right time can only dream of. Your rich life is waiting. It starts with your first move. Make it now.